What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Channel Musty Gamer, and today we're back with another episode of account coaching series featuring the Hunter's account. Now, for those of you who have reached out to me recently about your account coaching, I would like to actually start the video by saying thank you to those of you who have sent your information about your accounts. I do really appreciate the opportunity, but then again, I'm actually going to stop taking in more inquiries until I'm done with everyone who has reached out to me already. I'll let you know when I am done with everyone who is kind of like reached out to me already. So if you guys want your account to be coached through the similar means that I'm actually showing you right now, I would like to ask you to pay attention to those episodes that comes throughout this week and next week. And then when I'm done with all the backlog, I'll go ahead and let you guys know. And I please do understand that these videos do take a little bit of time, a little bit more time than usual, because I usually just go ahead and clip off of a live stream that I do or something very similar that it does not take that much time for me to edit and make those videos. Whereas these videos, I have to take a look at all the screenshots, I have to put them onto the PowerPoint, and then I have to actually write out my suggestions. So it does take a little bit longer time for me to actually do one of those. So would really like to would really appreciate if you guys can show some patience if you want to actually get your accounts checked up by me. But then again, if you wanted to send it away after watching this video, please go ahead and wait a little bit longer. But with that said, though, let's just go ahead and jump into Hunter. So Hunter is a very young account starting with 204, so very very young account, with 27 million power and 60 million kill points, which is nice. He has an account that is actually younger than me, which is 161 days in, which is fine. VIP 13 though, so I think that's something that he can potentially work on. But because he's such a young account, I don't think really that will be a big of a problem. He is still in KVK1, it seems like, by the time that I received this, so that is good to know. And to give you a little bit of background on things, because I think this will be probably the biggest topic as I kind of go over his account, is that last week he actually reached out to me asking if he should invest in Takeda Shingen. And now, for those of you who are wondering why he's asking when he's in KVK1 and at the end of KVK1, why is he asking about Takeda Shingen? Takeda Shingen was actually added as a new commander batch that was migrated into KVK2 commanders along with CJ and Bertrand. But no one actually knows about it because Takeda Shingen is actually not one of the best commanders to invest in because of the fact that, for one, you don't have Attila in KVK2. So if you don't have Attila paired up with Takeda Shingen alone does not really perform well in rally or garrison situation or even like on the field situation. So Lilith did us kind of a wrong way, in my opinion, by just moving Takeda Shingen into KVK2 instead of Attila as well. So that's a little bit of a backstory for those of you who are not familiar with the KVK2 system and how it has changed over the course of last year or so. But yeah, so he reached out to me asking if he should invest in Takeda Shingen. And I actually gave him my suggestions on him about 7-8 days ago, saying that Takeda is an interesting commander. I wouldn't recommend Takeda in 2025 unless you're a Mega Whale who has too many gold hits. So there are certain circumstances that you can actually use Takeda for rally, and that's basically where the situations that I actually listed out here. There are a few conditions he is good, and one, if you're a rally lead and you can expertise Bertrand as secondary for in KVK2 and has armaments to support it with Delta or Arch, he might be usable, right? Bertrand does combo damage, and Takeda buffs a lot of normal damage stuff. So if you can pair Takeda with Bertrand, technically speaking, there is a world that some rally leagues might be able to use him. Was what I was suggesting. I'm not suggesting that he should be used, but that's basically what I was thinking off the top of my head when I heard about him wanting to invest in Takeda Shingen. And then two, you have enough commander swap slot left which is 2, right? To swap him after KVK 2, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because Takeda Shingen becomes completely useless after KVK 2 nowadays in 2025. Now, before Subutai came into the game, in the earlier part of 2025, this was not the case. Attila Subutai actually has some sort of use after KVK 2. But then again, after Subutai came in, people just preferred Attila Subutai better. It does the job better than Takeda Shingen. The only reason why people would ever still run Attila Takeda rally is simple. If you're running city rallies and if the city is not guarded and garrisoned well enough, then Takeda Shingen paired up with Attila will actually do more sev wounds and deads than Attila Subutai, because combo damage actually does not do as much damage, as much several wounds into the city, as well as the what's this called, deaths into the city, than Attila Takeda. So that's the only reason that you will use him. So after KVK2, you have to swap him afterwards. So he has to have at least one available commander swap slot open for him after usage of him in KVK2, which is unlikely, because if you're cavalry main, there is a very slim chance that you'll actually use two swaps for things like Takeda and Bertrand, right? Like I said, that's the only pairing that I could think of that could potentially work for Rally and Garrison. So that's why I suggested him. And now it could work if all of your opponents are on the weaker end, but it's an investment I cannot vouch for, in my opinion. If you want to be a rally lead, the most efficient rally is Minamoto YSG with expertise YSG. The reason why I suggested this is because not efficient is in terms of the reports, but then again, efficient in terms of the rally lead's gold heads perspective, right? Minamoto does not cost you gold head, it just costs you money. And then YSG is an investment that you have to make anyway. So because you want to make sure that you have Chinchiwan YSG as you enter KVK3, right? So if you want to be a cavalry rally, I think the most efficient way you can run this is by using Minamoto and YSG, right? So that's what I told him about Takeda. And then a week later, and I did tell him that this video is going to be harsh because of what you're about to see about Takeda. He didn't mind, so that's good. Then quick question, and then I also asked, because he actually did invest in Takeda. After hearing my suggestions, I did ask, why did you max Takeda after taking my advice against it? He said his Archer March starts. I haven't built it up at all, so short-term goal of building my Archer. So this is his short-term. So my Archer March sucks, and I haven't built it up. So my short-term goal is building up my Archer March, and then craft the best gear and all that stuff. So that's good. And then about the Takeda, he said, I have already bought the bundle. So he bought the bundle that was actually available for you upon the release of Achilles, which actually allowed you to get Achilles or GG. I think it's GG. Yeah. It was a bundle that was meant to allow you to unlock GG, Gangamchan. And then for KVK 3 or before governors, I think it was the case that you can actually choose which commander that you can actually unlock. So he bought the bundle already. But then again, wrong thoughts. So I asked you, and Rise of Kingdoms did not give me refunds, so I stuck with him. So he bought the bundles on Gangamchan on Takeda, and then he had wrong thoughts and invested in him. Second thoughts, he said. So yeah, so that's what happened. It's unfortunate, but you'll see it soon enough what happened to Takeda. And then he has about 45 gold has saved up for, so that's good to know. And he has Minamoto and Sanzu, both their expertise, and YSG is at 5525, which is interesting. And he really wanted to build those marches, those 3 marches, pretty good. The 3 marches that I'm about to show you, pretty good. And he's doing well with infantry in terms of trades, but then cavalry is a little squishy on the field, but good. But then again, Archer March needs work. Okay, so something that we can look at as we take a look at his account at the end of the day. Again, his short-term goal is to grab and make some better gear for Archer main, Archer March, and then hit 25 million pi before KVK2 starts. His long-term goal, I think this might have been a little outdated because it looks like he's already at 25 million, 27 million. So that's not too bad. His long-term goals are to save his gold has to invest in some good infantry commanders for KVK3 and Season of Conquest, and he's also thinking about saving it until the next gen infantry release in next year. So that's good to know. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what he has. First things first, he has Minamoto expertise. And unfortunately, I see Shadow Legion's Retribution. I think that's what it's called. The Shadow Legion chess piece. Now, for those of you who are wondering why that's the case, that's a mistake, is because for cavalry, the best chess piece that you can actually craft is actually Hellish Wasteland chess piece, breastplate, whatever it is that it's called. But the chess piece for the Hellish Wasteland set, which will give you health instead of attack. Now in Rise of Kingdoms, attack is actually less preferred stat over defense, and then defense is actually less preferred stat over health. So health is the best stat in Rise of Kingdoms, defense is next, and attack is the worst, just generally speaking. Especially for cavalry, that is true because health and defense actually carries almost as much value as one another, and then attack is actually the worst stat that you can actually get. And this chess piece actually provides attack, whereas its alternative provides you health. So this is a piece that you will have to eventually dismantle. But when you dismantle a legendary equipment, you only get half of the materials that you actually put in. So this is a bit of a headache already. But outside of that, he is wearing the two-piece Vanguard set, which is nice. The epic boots is okay. The epic gloves is amazing. And overall, the fact that he has Minamoto expertise is really good because Minamoto expertise will actually give you a lot of power in KVK1 and KVK2. And he's still working on his arch formation, which is interesting. Usually in KVK2, as a young player and new account, I would say working on delta formation is a little better because you're not really gonna benefit from arch formation too much, or wedge formation if you're actually using Minamoto. So it is interesting that he has arch formation building up for cavalry. What I would recommend, which I'll go over when we get to the armaments themselves, but what I'll recommend is that you actually start pulling for delta formation, pincer formation, and wedge formation instead of pulling for arch formation. Arch formation is useful in only certain scenarios, whereas you're using Attila Subutai Rally and you want to make it more counterattack damage focus, but it's not really usable on the field. So I would say arch formation is not really something that I would recommend for his formation pulling. And his Takeda, as I said before, he did invest in Takeda. He's sitting at 4,331. And a couple problems with this. For one, Takeda is not a commander that you can use on expertise. If you want to use Takeda expertise, if you want to use Takeda as a rally lead, you have to expertise him. And you have to expertise him. You have to expertise him. Otherwise, you are causing unnecessary inefficiency for your kingdom. And Takeda just isn't that good if you're not using him on expertise as well. So this is a big red flag. Again, the reason why I said this could be really, really harsh is because I think this is probably one of the worst mistakes that you can make investing in Takeda Shingen in KVK2 as a mid to low spender. If you're a high spender, if you're a mega whale, it doesn't really matter where you spend your gold heads in. And if you're using Minamoto and YSG and then you wanted to get a good normal damage slash smite combo damage dealing pairing, then Takeda investment as well as a Bertrand investment and both of them expertise as a big whale in KVK2 that is minimum T5 and very close to VIP 17, that will make sense. But unfortunately, your account is not like that. And the fact that you have invested in Takeda Shingen in a mediocre skill level is a big red flag and big negative for your account. What I do hope is though that you can swap Takeda Shingen out to a different commander, and you don't have any other commanders that you have invested in, and you just save the gold heads is what I hope, but I doubt that is the case. So yeah, Takeda Shingen 4331 is a big, unfortunately, it's a big L for his account. And now he's running YSG. Now, excuse me. Now I don't know why he's running YSG with archer headgear with cavalry critted. You should never crit this gear with cavalry because this is just meant for archer. Whatever is in the very top row that does give you the most amount of stats for that piece should be the one that you should be critting it towards. Now, he does also have archer chest piece critted towards infantry, which gives you archer health the most among the other stats. But he critted it for infantry, which is very interesting choice. And then archer, I think this is the archer glove piece that is critted for cavalry. So yeah, so you're gonna have to dismantle all of this eventually, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it is just interesting to see all of that in this account. He did say his YSG was 5525. I would suggest that you should expertise YSG regardless because eventually, when you go into KVK3, you will have to use YSG as a pairing for Qin anyways, if you are going to run one archer. But for your case, because everything is so spread out so far, I think I'll have to I think I would have to give it a second thought into whether or not you should be expertising YSG at this very moment. And he's running whatever armaments. That's also fine because he's a young account. At least he's running Wedge. That's what I'm happy about. And he has Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is wearing a full blue pieces with I think the one epic chess piece, which is really nice. This is what I'll. This is okay. This is a really good setup for a KVK1 player. And he's running Arch formation again. I don't recommend that you pull for Arch for several reasons, and the fact that Sun Tzu is wearing Arch formation is a bit of a L because you will want to use West formation for your Sun Tzu. If you're preparing for post KVK2, that's fine, but I think if that's the case, I think you should be pulling for pincer formation. So that is a little bit of a problem here. But yeah, if you're using it for just stats, that's fine. What I would suggest is that you eventually move on to different dispatch formations for delta, pincer, and wedge formation, so that you can use those armaments for your commanders at the end of the day. But right now, Arch is okay, but not something that you should be using at this moment. And then he has Pierce 5541, which is okay. So I'm assuming that he's using Sun Tzu with Pierce, which is good. And there you go. Pierce is another swap that you have to make eventually into KVK3 or beyond, you know. So I don't know if you should be swapping Takeda and Pierce, or if you have any higher level skill level commanders, then I don't know if that's going to be the case. But I think swapping out Takeda is something that you should be doing definitely, unless you have commanders that you have. Let's say, for example, your Cao is at like 5551, then I think you should swap out Cao into a different commander. So that's what I think. General comment on your set. I'll say your investment is too spread out. Focus on Minamoto YSG and then Sun Tzu Pierce. Is my recommendation because your current archer setup, like I don't even know what you're using as a secondary to your YSG. But you know, right now, you're using YSG plus. I'm assuming it's Medmed or Ethelfled. But if you're using YSG with Ethelfled or Medmed, I would just say go ahead and use it behind any infantry or cavalry. And given that you already have an expertise Minamoto, what I suggested here is that, hey, you should be using Minamoto and Waishi and Sun Tzu and Pairs. And forget about Archer March until you get enough gold heads to actually expertise certain commanders, like Qin Shi Huang, for example, as you enter KVK3. So that's my suggestion. Also, at the same time, prioritize reaching VIP 14, given that you already used your gold heads in many different non-meta commanders, including Takeda, and spread them out. It is crucial that you increase your daily gold heads income eventually to recover your gold heads that you have already wasted. So that's why I'm suggesting you that you do hit VIP 14 as soon as possible, and if at all possible, I would say you should try to go ahead and hit the events that does give you a lot of gold heads as much as possible, so that you can actually increase your daily gold head income as much as possible. Is my suggestion. This is just to give you a little bit of idea of how the cavalry equipment should be built. You can start off from the blue and green pieces. That's fine. But then again, this is the number. As you upgrade slowly to blue pieces and the epic pieces and the legendary pieces, this is like the way in which that you should be crafting stuff. Again, you made your first wrong step by crafting the chess piece from the Shadow Legion. I'm assuming you got it from your Crystal Key pulls, unfortunately. So I would say just go ahead and follow this chart as you build your cavalry setup. Same goes for your archers. Currently, your credit stuff is just really really weird. Just make sure that you follow these, and then make sure you crit for archers. I'm hoping that you actually threw things into your archer setup. Just as you have leftovers, but then again, you also crafted the wrong items for each slot. This is infantry setup, which is fine. But then again, this is archer chest piece with infantry crit, and then archer helmet with cavalry crit. So, yeah, just go ahead and just follow what you have, and then make sure you crit the right pieces into right equipment. Is my recommendation. Again, equipment optimization suggestion. The biggest problem is crafting Shadow Legion's Retribution, which is the non-set cavalry chest piece, and then it's also very spread out. I would say prioritize completing the cavalry equipment, then slowly work on archery equipment, not infantry. I personally think that as you enter KVK3, you don't really have that many commander swaps for you to actually utilize both infantry and cavalry and archers. So if I were in your shoes, I know that you wanted to get infantry as your KVK3 commanders, but if I were you, I would suggest that you actually go completely in a different direction, and then get Qin Shi Huang and get something else. And the reason why I'm suggesting that you swap to non-infantry is simple, is because if you get Qin Shi Huang, you get one slot left over, and then for the swap, and then that would actually make it. If you swap that one slot into Arthur, I think that would actually allow you to have one full skill damage commander pairing along with Minamoto, instead of having it swapped to, I think the best suggestion that I have is going to be Liu Che. Then you're left with no commander pairing for Liu Che at this point, right? You don't really have Alex built up. You don't really have Bai Chi built. You don't really have a commander swap for Bai Chi, unless you want to run just one infantry march, which is an option that you can look into. But then again, I would think that the damage output that you can do with Qin Shi Huang is a lot better than infantry. So that's why I'm suggesting this. Again, it is your personal choice and it is your personal account. So I would leave your decision up to you. But my suggestion is that you should kind of swap to archer and cavalry as you enter KVK 3 and beyond, is my suggestion, as you get the commander swap. So this is what I would suggest. Yeah. Forget about archers. Forget about running YSG primary archer march right now, because you really don't have archer march at this very moment. Dismantle all of the archer gears and then just focus on making the best set for cavalry and infantry. Infantry set you don't have to touch it, but and then in the meantime you should actually craft the archer setup in the back end. Is my recommendation on this. And then as you kind of swap Qin Shi Huang and Arthur or Achilles, you can basically get Minamoto with Arthur and then Qin Shi Huang with YSG. So those two are actually Minamoto and YSG is half meta usable, not even meta, but usable commander pairing. And then Qin Shi Huang YSG is the strongest march in the game, right? And then eventually, if you work on Achilles, you'll be able to have two meta setup with Qin Shi Huang YSG and then Arthur Achilles, is my opinion. As you currently don't really have a way for you to have immediately usable infantry setup, and the equipment that you currently have is all dismantleable. You can dismantle all this and lose no materials, so that's why I'm suggesting that. But again, if you want to work on infantry, I will just go ahead and instead of swapping to Qin Shi Huang and Arthur, you can swap to Liu Qie and Bai Qi. And then you can just run one infantry march if that's something that you are actually looking for. And dismantle everything and then just go ahead and work on that one infantry equipment. And then that's basically how I would suggest that you run that. Armament dispatch for one smite formation, one combo formation, one skill damage formation set on dispatch. Don't dispatch for Arch. Arch is very outdated, and it is specifically only for rally or garrison leads that are going to be usable in KVK season of conquest level, right? Like my main account is the type of accounts that would actually need Arch formation, not new accounts whatsoever. So go ahead and use one smite, one combo, one skill damage formation. That's what I would suggest. Right now it's Pincer the Wedge, but it could be different in the future as we get new new formations added into the next year, as the developers assess so. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, probably one of the hardest account that I've reviewed ever. But yeah, as long as you're enjoying Rise of Kingdoms, man, I think that's fine. If you want to be competitive, though, I would say just try to follow my suggestions as much as possible, to be honest with you. And but yeah, hopefully this was helpful for you. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful for those of you who are in a similar situation as Hunter is, in terms of commanders and equipments and all that stuff. So yeah, make sure you go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you found this video helpful. And as always, guys, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.